What's up YouTube? Today's video will be a little bit different. It's going to be a bit of a quick little leveling guide for my character that I'll be playing in the Gauntlet, and I do believe that this is probably the best character to reach level, what's it called, 95 or 90, depending on what you want, to try to get the rewards and drawing entries for the Gauntlet. So quick little background is that the Gauntlet is an event held by GGG and Zizarin, and they gave them a bunch of MTX rewards. So you can win a new computer, a new monitor, 165 Hz, although I'm pretty sure PoE can never run the game at 165 Hz, so the monitor is kind of wasted. But that's just me being bitter about the performance issues with PoE. And if you get level 50, you're guaranteed an Atlantis mystery box. This time around, the Gauntlet is a lot easier because there's no more Fizz's extra elemental damage. And then at level 60, you get a random draw, level 70, 80, 85, 90, 95. So you can get a lot of cool things. I have gotten most of my MTXs, the full armor set from the level 95 random draw in the Gauntlets in the past. So you can see the mods are fires 4 additional projectiles. That means you will get shotgun by some of the bosses. Dodri, cannibals will be really scary. Veritania mobs will be insane. Baran could be a lot more dangerous. So there's a lot of bad things with this. And not only do they have more projectiles, they also have 70% increased AoE. They have 20% more monster life, which is lower than before, which was 40%. But now unique monsters have 80% increased monster life. So they pretty much made it so that the bosses have much more life than before. So the bosses roughly have around 60% more life than in the past. So basically, pretty fun event. And now you might be wondering, what are you actually going to be playing? And the answer is, I am going to be playing Seismic Trap, or whatever, Seismic Trap into Poison Seismic. Now there's like two different variants of it, Poison Seismic versus Crit Seismic. I am using Imexile's POB. I don't really know that much about trappers, so that's why I'm using someone who's actually one of probably the best players, not only in racing, and he's probably played Saboteur one of the most times in Gauntlet. So I'm going to go over the build real fast, and then I also made a little cheat sheet for everyone so that you can know the gems while leveling. I do like this format a lot more than the regular formats on Path of Building, and this should give you a good idea of what gem links that you should be using, and I'll go over the skills and how you should actually use the skills in order to survive. But let's get straight into the build overview and the tree. So like I said, this is Imexile's POB, and this is the one I'll be following. So in the beginning, there's different sections you can choose here: early, mid, 80ish, poison swap, endgame, poisonish. So in the beginning, you take the elemental nodes. It's very important to take damage nodes at the start because you want to kill like Brutus, you want to do all of the monsters, and you want them to die pretty fast. So it's extremely important you take all of these nodes. And then this one down here, I would probably path to this life node over here, get the 50 life node first, just in order to be a little safer when you do Brutus. And then this thing here is super important if you throw bear traps, because in the beginning we'll be using Stormblast mines primarily. So the bear traps will give you frenzy charges, so you have 15% chance to gain a frenzy charge when your trap is triggered by an enemy. And then this gives you Skitterbot reservation efficiency, so you can run like Herald of Thunder with Vitality, and later on you can run Grace. So this is the beginning tree. In the mid, I would always take the Ascendancy Pyromaniac first, because the regen is super nice, and immune to ignite and shock will stop you from getting killed. Now here you run Charisma and Grace Evasion Mastery. The reason being is that you can run Grace, summon Skitterbots as your auras, and then later on you can also run Defiance Banner and Determination once you get into Act 6 and you can talk to Lily. So basically here you take some Fizz damage nodes. This helps out with your Seismic Trap. So overwhelm, 10% physical damage reduction, and you also have 20% chance to impale for a little bit of extra damage. And then you go up here, you get some trap cooldown recovery. These are some nice life nodes, and this lets you have +1 cooldown use on the traps, which is pretty important for bursting down bosses. And down here you get the life nodes, helps you to avoid being stunned, get some spell suppression, and fill out some more life nodes, get a 10% increased life mastery. So this is pretty much already super tanky at 129% at around level 54. So let's move on to 80ish. Now, Imexile does decide to start off as a crit trapper. Now, the difference being crit trapper and poison trapper is that, as everyone knows, that crit is always going to be notoriously harder to gear. But at the beginning, crit trapper does have a higher output of damage until like the late game, and then in the late game, poison trapper beats them out. But in the late game, if you do get March of the Legion and you get really good crit multi gear, crit trapper should beat out poison trapper. Poison Trapper also allows you to benefit from on-kill effects so that you can get stuff from Blood Drinker, recover 2% of life on kill. So there are some benefits, so that's why we go crit in the beginning to help out with the mapping and just the bossing in general, and then Poison when it's actually stronger at around like, I don't know, like level 85 or whatever. So it just depends on what type of gear you're looking for. So this tree now, he just goes over here. He gets this more spell suppression, more life, and takes out the Scion Life Wheel. And he also gets down this spell suppression thing. And the spell suppression mastery is critical strike chance is increased by suppressed spell damage. So if you have like 73% spell suppression, then you'll have 73% crit. This life note's pretty nice. It gets you avoid ailments a little bit. And then you take the efficient crit multi clusters, and then you get 25% crit multi against unique enemies. So you can see here, even though this is a crit build, it's not really like softcore where you would probably get like Heartseeker or something like that. So it's still like relatively low investment into crit multi and crit chance. It's just like it's a better way of scaling it. And you also get these nodes right here, which gives you a little bit of crit chance and crit multi. So there's not really that much crit chance and crit multi going on in a tree between this and poison. So later on, you do the poison swap, and what you do is you drop the crit multi nodes that you had from here, and then you start taking these poison nodes, and this. So you want to make sure you have 100% chance to poison on hit, and you will need to use a Herald of Agony later. He does take these spell suppression nodes that gives you life flash gains when you suppress spell damage, which is pretty nice for sustain on fights. So basically, you start taking the chaos damage over time multi, so you're pretty much kind of playing like Toxic Rain again, in terms of you need damage over time multiplier and you need 100% chance to poison. So let's see, end game poison, what does he have? So he has these nodes right here. So these are your main poison nodes. This one can damage over time multiplier for poison, increase damage for poison. Then you have toxic strikes, which is gives you more damage over time multiplier for poison and chance to poison on hit. And then you have this one, you use chaos mastery for chance increase effect of withered, which you will be applying with Withering Step. And then there's another poison cluster here, Serpentine Spellslinger. And the only poison mastery you end up taking is, what's it called? Increased poison duration. But basically, super good tree, I think, in the end, in terms of helping you out, getting you to the end game. But let's go over now what the actual skill gems and how you'll actually be leveling this build now that you know how the tree actually looks in the end game. So in the beginning, you will be leveling with Stormblast Mines. You do get a chance to poison as your first skill gem, so link it to Stormblast Mine, and then you get Stormblast Mine Swift Assembly, chance to poison. You want to have Orb Storms, Onslaught, Frostbomb. What you can also do is you can link Elemental Proliferation to Orb Storms or something like that, so that you could potentially, sped freeze. And you do kind of want to craft a cold damage wand at the start. That's something I learned from watching like streams. That's what you should be doing to try to make it safer. So cold damage wand craft in the beginning. And the wand craft, I wrote it out here, is you need a magic wand, white, topaz, or sapphire ring, plus 1 alteration orb. So it should be a sapphire ring actually. So the level of the wand craft is dictated by the rarity of the sapphire ring or topaz ring. So sapphire will make a cold wand, topaz ring will make a lightning wand, and then ruby ring will make a fire wand. And the white one I think is 8 requirement, and I'm not too sure. I think magic is 16 and then rare is 20. It's something like that. It might be lower for the magic one. I'm not too sure about that. But basically I usually just craft one at level 8 and then or 2 if you want to be really safe, and then I craft 2 more at level 20 before doing Weaver. So you have Frostbomb, Orb Storm, Onslaught, Ellie Prolif, and then you link Frostblink, Arcane Surge. So this is your movement skill, and when you use it, you'll gain Arcane Surge. Lower Prison, you pretty much just swap out chance to poison with added lightning damage, and then this is still the same. I should probably keep this here. And then you still only have Frostblink as your movement skill. And then you have Stormblast Mine, added lightning damage. After Brutus, you add in Flame Dash instead of Frostblink. And then you pick up Vitality. And then Caverns, you just get Lightning Trap to level up. And you can also pick up Exsanguinate to level up, I think. And now you're in Chamber. Chamber, what you get is auras now. So you can run Herald of Thunder. And you can get Summon Skitterbots with Unbound Ailments, actually. Unbound Ailments might be from Weaver. I'm not 100% sure about this. But basically, I should probably add another section, which is after like Weaver, you do get Elemental Focus and you do get multiple traps, I think, from Act 1. But this is when you do the swap over. So you could theoretically, after you do Weaver, you could put Ele Focus in for added lightning damage. But at level 28 is when you switch to the Trapper. So let's just see the playstyle a little bit. So what you do for this build is you put down Orb of Storms. You make sure to stand inside of Orb of Storms, and it will proc it every single time you throw a Stormblast Mine. So ideally, let's say Gwenin is the boss. You want to put down the Orb of Storms, and you want to stand in it. And you can pre-stack it like this before the boss comes up, and then I have it on left-click detonate, and then you detonate it all on the boss. Now a little trick for Weaver, which is a dangerous boss, is you can use Smoke Mine, and you always want to stay in melee range, but the Smoke Mine should make you a lot less likely to be hit. But basically, this is just the playstyle. And movement skill, you use Arcane or Flame Dash around. But next we have level 28. You use Lightning Trap. You still have Bear Trap. You could use Bear Trap earlier. Actually, I forgot about that. That's my bad. So you could, I think you get Bear Trap relatively early on. So you could theoretically be using Bear Trap here, and even Bear Trap here. So now you switch to Lightning Trap, Multi-Trap, Ele Focus, Trap and Mind Damage, Flame Dash, Arcane Surge. Now you can pick up Grace as your aura. So you can run Vitality, Grace, Summon Skitterbots. You can lower the level of Vitality if it's too high. And now we use 3 cooldown traps, which is Seismic Trap, Lightning Spire Trap, Flamethrower Trap. And you want to try to link these to Trap and Mind Damage, and Lightning Spire and Flamethrower could technically be also linked to Elemental Focus, right? So let's go see here. So this is my other Trapper. So I have one for every single level because I was just trying out the build. So here you can see we have 3 traps here. Flamethrower, Lightning, and Seismic. So what you do is you throw down the trap before the boss spawn. And then you can see there's a set the ratio, and then they will explode. And then the boss should hopefully get one-shotted. And then you can also throw lightning traps because that's your main DPS ability. So that's how it works. So you pretty much just replace Stormblast Mine with Lightning Trap, and then these are your single target skills, so pretty chill. Level 38, you switch over to Exsanguinate as your main trap instead of Lightning Trap, and you will just use Seismic Trap only with Life Tap, Advanced Trap, Trap, and Mind Damage. So let's see here. So this is my other character, so now you can see the playstyle of this one. So this is just only Seismic Trap. I was practicing on only a 3-link to simulate it. So this is Exsanguinate that you'll be using. Exsanguinate, and then you have your Seismic Traps that you throw up. So pretty much the reason you use Exsanguinate is because it has really good clear, because it has built-in chain, especially when you also link the chain support. Then you have Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Grace, Determination, Defiance. And then in the end game, we want to use Molten Shell, cast 1 damage taken, vulnerability. You want to cast 1 damage taken, Molten Shell, you probably want to self-cast vulnerability. Or then later on you can put Despair actually. So this should be Despair if you're going Poison. I think you might want to use Assassin's Mark if you go crit, not 100% sure. So Seismic Trap, Life Tap, Advanced Trap, Trap and Mind Damage, Summon Skitterbots, Unbound Ailments, and then your movement skill will be Shield Charge, Faster Attacks. You can probably pick this up earlier. You will get a lot of these gems like Determination, Defiance Banner in Act 6 once you get there. But basically, that's about it for the skills that you'll be using to level. I will include the spreadsheet and Imexile's POB down in the description below. And now I'll go over briefly what type of gear you want and what you should be looking for. So a lot of this gear, and in the end, this will be a poison trapper. So what you want to look for is you want a chance to poison on hit, and you want to make sure you can get it to 100%. You can run Herald of Agony, which will help you to get 20% chance to poison on hit. And I think Herald of Agony gives you 10% more poison damage, which is always nice. So ideally, you could just make this with Reforged Chaos, and then you can craft on trap damage. Ideally, you want to get lucky enough to hit damage over time multi and +1 fizz, but that could be very hard. Now for these pieces, you just get life resist. You could be an armor evasion type. This can be an armor evasion type. You also kind of want some energy shield for ghost shroud if possible. So gloves is life and resist. And you'll probably need spell suppression on either your helm, your gloves, or your boots, or you can even get it on your shield. So pretty much every single item, life and resist, life and resist, life and resist. You can get a hunter gloves, so I think for chaos damage over time multi. You need one hunter ring for despair ring, and otherwise you just want more life and resist. And then here you have some more life and resist on your belt, and that's pretty much just a standard affair for for Gauntlet or SSF in general. Your gear is mostly life and resist, and you'll have a few items that are influenced. Oh yeah, for gloves you probably want Shaper gloves later on, so you can get a 5-link trap and mind damage. 5-link trap and mind damage with Exsanguinate as your clear skill. But basically that's about it. This character I only leveled to 81. In terms of ascendancy order, you want to take Pyromaniac, Born in the Shadows, and then Chain Reaction last. Then that's pretty much just a survivability thing. I'm not really sure what you want to use for these. I pretty much just used Soul of Tukuhama, or you could use Soul of Groove Coach, as I think physical damage reduction is what will get us killed in the end, or physical damage taken. And I am running Soul of the Brine King because it reduces the effect of chill, and it makes it so we can't get stunned if we've been stunned or blocked in the past 2 seconds, and it also grants us cannot be frozen later on. So that's probably the one I'll be running. If I can actually figure out the freeze and chill and stun solution, I'll probably switch over to Soul of Lunaris. But hopefully this guide, or like little short guide, it has helped me out learn the character a lot more, and it should give you a pretty good basis for getting through the game. I'll also link, this is something that Ventrua wrote, and I do think it's actually very, very helpful if you want to look through it. It's a lot more detailed than what I went through, but I don't think he actually ended up finishing the guide. It's kind of funny, a lot of people say they'll finish something, but then they realize running a full 10-act guide is pretty long. So I will include this. These are probably the best resources you could possibly have from the best players possible to help you through the gauntlet. So give it a try. It's a lot more noob friendly and easier this time around. I do think that this build will help you out a lot. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mage Bloods, Mirrors, and Headhunters than me. And good luck. See you next time. Bye.